We just saw perhaps the most incredible game we've seen so far this season, at least one of the longest and absolutely nuts games of the season. But it's not over yet. We're going right into Bbyong versus Life.
Yeah, man. This is also going to be probably a crazy game. I would definitely favor Life here, but talking about Bbyong, he's always been like the second place guy for CJ Entis. He's taken a lot of strong games. He's taken ace matches when Hero wasn't truly on his form 100%. This guy, he is definitely a very strong player. He's kind of evened out, like plateaued a little bit, but he's looking to improve even more so in 2015.
Yeah, absolutely a very, very strong Terran. One of their best, one of their anchors. But Life is the player who's left here. Life, the player that needs to win here for StarTale, and if he loses, then it's all over. But Life insanely favored. If you look at his Pro League results that are on screen right there, 4-3, don't really tell the tale of how many Terrans he's slain in his career. He won BlizzCon. He just beat Flash 3-0 in the SSL.
He has taken so many big Terran memes that, like, if I were a Terran going up against Life, I would be the most scared that I would ever be against any other player ever. This guy is just unbelievable against Terran these days. He's played so many high-level ones on the biggest stages, and here he's in a pretty pressured spot to take his team back into this one, but I think he's going to take it.
All right, guys, let's go into what could be the last map of the night, Bbyong versus Life, here at Pro League.
Down here in the bottom left in the red, the Terran player for CJ Entis, it is Bbyong.
And his opponent, the ZBT Slayer recently, it's Life. Annihilated Flash in the SSL. Flash definitely not playing his best game that night, but Life certainly was. And with that recent result, on the back of this, and many people calling Life the best Zerg in the world right now, myself included,
yeah.
Highly, highly favored.
It would be hard to find a better Zerg these days. I don't know, like, you got up-and-comers like Dark, but guys like Solkey, Sue, they're starting to fall off a little bit. I wouldn't say, like, they're bad. Of course, that's not what I'm saying at all. It's just, like, they're not at their, like, tip-top forms these days.
They don't have the consistency that Life is showing right now.
Yeah.
They just don't.
It's a better way to put it. And that's, like, so valuable for a team like StarTale-yoe. You know, they have two strong players come up, and so a couple of great games, but having Life as your anchor as the third player here in case you go down 2-0, it's just so valuable. It brings you back.
Sick build here, by the way. You know, when you're up 2-0, do a build. You know, you mess it up, you lose.
This is so smart.
It doesn't matter. Life defended a 2-barracks. He didn't even get to showcase his best play. You know, this is a great opening, and I like this choice a lot. Constant checks there on the watchtower to make sure his overlords are not going in a weird pattern. He does it just right outside.
No life, no Zerg.
Yeah, no life, no Zerg. Oftentimes the case in tournaments these days. If there's no life, there's no Zerg in the tournament.
Well,
but he puts these barracks in such a way the first overlord's not going to see it. The second one might.
Yeah, he might, but Life has already read this very, very well. He puts down the pool first, no gas, puts down the hatch next. He's like, okay, I know what you're going to do here. He's got his overlord in position the second one just to watch. He's actually just staring at it, as you can see. He's like, is he coming? Is he coming?
Like he already knows. Like somebody told him that this is going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's actually quite predictable in these states. Like I would go as far to say, because up 2-0, everything you said before. You know, Life's a very strong Zerg player. You want to take him out here. 2 racks on a 2-player map. It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, he's pooling the Marines. But Life's about to scout the CC being missing. So he's going to know what's up. 2 Lings here already. And this is going to make Bbyong very sad. Doesn't mean that he can't make this work, though, because he's got a lot of SCVs coming. And if he can get a bunker up, this still could work. Gas going up for Life, meanwhile. That Queen going to be pretty helpful at defending this as well. Double bunker. He's got several Marines with this, and they're still rallying. He's got 5 Marines on the map right now. And a good position where he can actually put those Marines in between the two bunkers.
Huge drone pull right now. He's only got 2 lings.
He could almost make a third bunker and put it right behind to actually prevent any more surrounds. This bunkering is actually going to happen. Okay, he pulls off the drones. Bunker's so close to being done, but they're not ready yet. That Queen doing so much extra range damage. He's not targeting the SCVs, though. And that could be a problem here. As now, with more Marines, that bunker is done. And he's going to try to block with the drones to stop those Marines from getting inside.
He blocks the drones, and the lings are doing a lot of damage to the Marines. They're desperately trying to get in the bunker. 1 gets in, 2 get in as well, but there's full surrounds here. He's taking a lot of damage, but
good repairs.
So is Bbyong.
Good repairs here. And he will, of course, hold this off now. Might even get the salvage on that bunker. More Marines coming in here. The Queen dies. It's all about that spine here. Jumping in between the bunkers. That spine doing work. Down to 138 hit points, but it's so valuable for him here. Let's talk numbers. 15 drones and 15 SCVs. 1 mule at a time. The second command center only now being started. He's going to have to tight wall this at the top. But, you know, even making a second spine crawler right now might not be a bad choice because, you know, he's going to pull up a ton of Marines. The spine's already pretty low.
Yeah, it's still a hard spot here for the Zerg. It's definitely not over this push, and that's why we see a lot of lings coming out. It's going to be hard for Life. He's only on 18 drones.
And that second spine will make it so he wouldn't have to necessarily make these lings. Life took a gas, but he canceled it because he knew that he needed every drone he could get, and he wasn't going to be able to mine gas. Okay, there's a second spine, because if you have to keep making lings, then Bbyong never attacks you and you got slow lings, then you have less drones.
You'd much rather have a bunch of drones.
Yeah, he's got so many Marines, you're never just going to kill those with slow lings.
Yeah. As is the way of Terrans after a big aggressive attack. He is making 2 CCs behind this, but I thought he's trying to push in and do some damage. But he knows the Queen has a transfuse. He knows there's a second spine crawler up. He knows that there are a bunch of Zerglings out already. And he's already flying those racks back. A great move by Life to actually get on top of the ramp there so that the Marines couldn't actually try to run by there. He also hit his ling numbers quite well. I think that's part of the reason why Bbyong is actually moving forward with this a little bit. He's like, how many lings do you make? How many drones do you have? Like, where am I at exactly in this game? Is my next follow-up attack going to be, you know, much stronger? Or, you know, do I need to move back here? Are you actually mining gas somehow and you have ling speed? Should I think about sending these Marines home? Should I continue to pressure? He has to keep poking like this, and if Life has, for example, made a ton of drones and he pokes like that, Life might freak out and press the Z key to get a few more lings out. And so now he realizes, of course, this time for pressuring is over. There was no ling speed. It would have come out by now. And he's going back home with those Marines, saving them. Going to leave 1 Marine to deny a third base drone. It's going to actually force a few more lings to come over here to make sure he can take that. Oh, no, never mind, it was dead. Sent the weakest Marine to do a hard job. Did not quite work out. So the third base will come down. But again, 3 CCs already completed. They're morphing into orbitals.
Yeah.
He doesn't even need to fly that over. He can just make a bunch of SCVs out of that, get 3 mules at a time, make a wall here at the front, just turtle up for a bit, get a strong army, and come in for a secondary push after already forcing Life's economy to not be that great.
These Hellions are about to become really important because this is too many lings. His Marines are in the middle of the map. He has no bunker. He doesn't have a tight wall. He needs to make sure he can get those depots up, but he's going to have to... If Life actually attacks here, there's nothing except those Hellions. They're so important here right now. Okay, he's not going to commit. Good wall there. Those Marines are still isolated in the middle of the map. They may never come home. Sad story.
Sorry, every time. Good scan here. Sees the lair timing. It's probably what he was expecting. He's like, okay, are you going for it now? Yeah, okay, you are.
Can also see Speed is researching and isn't done yet. So he can move up with these Marines and be a little bit more aggressive because he can kite against the lings. And I think that's the best he was probably ever going to get out of these Marines. Not a bad choice. They were never going to make it home. Well, Banshee Cloak, yeah, and he knows the lair is on the way, so he's got to make this work ASAP if it's going to work at all. +1 being rushed here as well for those Banshees. Mostly for the Hellions, of course, though, and later on any other area units he uses. The +1 coming out this early makes me feel like we might actually see a transition into mech. He has 3 CCs up, you know, already this early, and the Zerg is focusing on droning, not attacking, not pressuring. If he can get the 6 gases up, you might just see a mech comp here. He's still making Marines for now because he needs to make sure that he's going to be okay if there is some sort of crazy push coming, which is part of the reason why this Banshee is here, not just for harassment, but for a little bit of extra scouting, a little bit of extra info here.
Hellions coming across the map. Gonna check at the third base, maybe catch some drones transferring. Life has to be so careful with this.
All right, Hellbat time. No Banelings, only Roaches, and they're not ready yet. They're not over at this base just yet. This Banshee is going to help out against the Roaches as well as the Queens here.
There's the Overseer. He was forming one before. Okay, there it is.
This Banshee doing so much extra damage. There's AoE, and a few Marines even come to join here. And these Zerglings are going to have a really tough time defending this. The second Banshee arrives. If he loses that Overseer, this is going to get really bad. Even a few Hellions join the mix now, just reinforcing-wise in speed mode. Now coming into Hellbats. If he kills this base, the tempo advantage is just going to be too much. There goes another Transfuse. He's trying to hang in there. The Queen gets sniped, though. There's no anti-air here. The Banshees are killing the Roaches.
He has a Spore Crawler. He's trying to burrow it underneath. That creep is not actually connected here, but he's just barely able to get it over here, and he's got an extra Queen now. He's able to pick off one Banshee, and that other one's about to run out of energy. But again, the ground army is still decently strong. He's got some Hellbats, but it's not quite enough.
Now make transition at home. 4-fact coming up. Third CC going over. Like I said, he knows Life has to be focusing on drones. Then he attacks when Life doesn't have those units out because he was focusing on drones. Now Life's on the defensive, and he's got Banshees out to defend a small amount of Roaches, so he's not going to have any problems whatsoever defending his third base. What a great style to bring in here against Life. Go into a 2-barracks proxy, get that pressure going, and then transition into mech. Not playing normal, not playing standard, not playing like Flash.
No.
And
Bbyong has shown some great mech play in the past as well. Against Zergs, against Perosses even. Against Classic one time, really catching him off guard. And I love to see Bbyong's mech. I want to see how it's been practiced up until this point. See how he's doing with it these days. Bunch of Thors coming out, even early, even before that Spire is finished.
He has such a tempo advantage right now. Everything Life is wanting to do here is a step behind. He wants to pressure the Roaches, but there's already enough units here to defend. He's going to want to trade here as best as he can against the mech units. The Marines is not something that Bbyong really cares about losing. They're not going to be part of his comp. He's not making them anymore. The only reason he was making them this whole time was to do that pressure and to have enough units to defend so he could get a third base up. Then he's got, boom, 6 gases, just what you want from mech. Several Thors already out here before the Spire is even done.
Yeah. I wonder if Life is beginning to realize what kind of comp this is. He sees those Marines, but in dwindling numbers, he begins to see Thors, and he's got to be like, okay, you're going mech. He immediately puts down 4th and 5th bases here.
Yeah.
And he's going to start transitioning into just pumping out drones.
Valdez, he's got +2 for the Smech army already, about to finish.
That's that early armory. You know, you go for that pressure with the Hellbats, use it for the Hellbats, but you also got the upgrades.
Also for the Banshees, you know?
The Banshees, the Thors, everything, man. It's mech.
That it is.
Really nice
It's getting
scoop
slowed.
here.
Yeah, that's a nice scoop. That's really important, but making 8 Mutalisks, and he's going to have to try to outmaneuver the Thors here because there's plenty enough Thors to actually fight these Mutalisks. In fact, he could like leave one in every mineral line to make this tough to execute. Actually, I just read that right. He's still making Marines. He's actually just a few more. He's up to 7 now. Looks like just off of a vanilla barracks, but it's going to help him a little bit against the Mutalisks. So 3 more Thors coming out. He's actually just going to move across the map. Look how far ahead he is in supply.
He's got an insanely strong army. Like you were saying, he's using tempo to his advantage. He knows that Life has identified this, and he may be taking 2 bases, and he is. And what army does he have? He has some Mutalisks. He has 3 Roaches.
SCVs for repair as well.
Where's the defense?
Well, Life is going to try to counterattack, but rallying Thors might even be enough if he just brings a few SCVs over to repair. Good magic box here, but look at the +2.
Repair.
Going to eventually just be able to wipe these mutas.
Yep.
Here comes the attack.
One Thor can take him out.
So many Banshees here. Roaches are not a factor.
There's no defense, man. He's trying to make mutas. He's trying to make Roaches, but it's too much. The tempo's in his advantage. Again, he knows this, and he's trying to go for counterattacks, but what we said before, the repair on the Thors, the rallying units out of the barracks, or rather out of the factories here, it's just going to be too much. 3 Thors.
Yep, these Mutalisks are not long for this world. Does have a few Roach and Ling supporting units here. It might actually be able to kill those Thors actually faster than I expected, but more and more Thors rallying out with Hellbat support. Terran buildings can fly. Life is not going to be able to escape anything out of his bases because his natural ramp is controlled. Might even want to consider, Widow Mines. Because Widow Mines are going to be good against everything. Mutalisks, Lings, and Roaches for the defense. Overlord drop.
Bbyong is like coming into the main base, destroying everything.
Not sure what Overlord drop's going to do for him here, but...
GG.
GG.
That's going to be it. Bbyong takes out the strongest Zerg in the world, and CJ Entis, in some crazy games here today, has 3-0'd StarTale-yoe.
Yep. Some crazy games. Excellent preparation. Who would you put as the MVP in your personal opinion? So I would put Bbyong. With that preparation that went into that game, that style that he played, the way he executed that follow-up push with his Marines, and then transitioned into Mech flawlessly with a 3rd CC against Life, against Life's playstyle, that was an incredible preparation, and his plan came to a head there. Even against Life going hatch after pool.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would still pick Hero, just because of his crazy, fierce tenacity in that game to stick in it the entire time and not get flustered and just slowly eat Curious out of that game. One of the best games we've seen so far. I feel like Bbyong, on that map especially, the build he had planned, everything he had planned, the follow-up pushes was just really nice for sniping out Light's playstyle even. And it was like a great snipe player, but I still feel like I would put Hero here as the MVP, but we'll see. We are not in control of picking.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the scores here. Bbyong takes out Hack, straight up play, cuts his head off after a disconnect there. Hero with that courage, man, in game number 2. Great preparation, Curious falling apart at the last moments, and then Bbyong is able to beat Life. Now, for the sake of that interview that we're going to have in a second, I feel like we might have Hero chosen, actually, just simply because there's a whole lot more to talk about. And here's our new standing screen, by the way. With the end of the second week, we can finally start putting these out because they actually mean something. And SK Telecom and CJ Entis both tie for first with a +4 indicator.
After that, we got Jinner and MVP. MVP, a team many people might be a little bit surprised, but their new team is starting to really come into form so far, even in round 1, game number 2. Then down there at the bottom, we got Samsung Galaxy, StarTale-yoe, KT Rolster, and Prime. I feel like the biggest surprise there is probably KT Rolster.
Notice Samsung has the same indicator as MVP, but because of that warning that we saw earlier, they end up in 5th place. Already in the second week, that's starting to take place. And also, I think another thing to note here with CJ Entis' score here is that without the 3-0 sweep, they would not be tied with SK Telecom. Indicator points are so important, especially towards the end of the round, but just already getting this tough +4 to start things off after week 2 is excellent for CJ Entis.
Guys, the next matchup next week, same time, same day, Monday, 7 o'clock. It's going to be Prime up against CJ Entis in the first match, and then KT Rolster up against SK Telecom, the Telecom Wars. You do not want to miss it.
Absolutely not. Be there or be square. It's going to be the second match of the day, so you're going to have to really plan your night around that if you got to stay up late, man. Because
you will.
Well, the first match, we'll know how long that one will go, but it's funny because now CJ actually, with playing against arguably a weaker team, might be able to take the lead against SK Telecom here in round 1.
It is possible, but KT Rolster as well, not playing as well as a lot of people are expecting. And SK Telecom looking super strong this season, definitely.
Oops, saying that, if they actually won that first match, they would actually be able to take first place. And CJ is already right on their tails. They're tied right now. This is already shaping up to be a great first round. We're going to go to the interview right now, though, with our MVP. Sojung is here to translate.
2014년 마지막 프로리그 경기.
Well, this is our